Oh, yeah, yeah. That's why I called you actually.
Yeah,
I think her recovery owes a lot to your visit.
recovery was bit.
No, no, I'll talk about it later. It started recording. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Mamaji, why don't you start with my wish?
Okay. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. My wish. The lover has to keep the wish of the beloved. My wish for my lovers is as follows. Do not shirk your responsibilities. Attend faithfully to your worldly duties, but keep always at the back of your mind that all this is Baba's. When you feel happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. Be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely. Baba has placed me in this situation. With the understanding that Baba is in everyone, try to help and serve others. I say with my divine authority to each and all that whosoever takes my name at the time of breathing his last comes to me. So do not forget to remember me in your last moments. Unless you start remembering me from now on, it will be difficult to remember me when your end approaches. You should start practicing from now on. Even if you take my name only once every day, you will not forget to remember me in your dying moments. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. So we continue our journey with glimpses of the God Man. We are in volume 3, and we are going to be starting a new chapter. This is actually a part as well. So it's 1953, but part 2. And we are starting with the Andhra Darshan Tour second part. So the first Andhra Darshan Tour ends. That's the title. Um, maybe I will read for a bit, or Mamaji, you want to read, or Ashok wants to read. Anybody's fine.
I'll
Uh,
read. I'll read. I'll read.
oh, oh,
Okay.
Uh,
So
Avatar.
Mamaji, you can read after that. Yeah. Thank
oh,
you. Jai
Can,
Baba.
can
Jai
I
Baba.
can I start? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. 1 second.
Avatar. Avatar
Yeah.
Meher Baba ki jai. First Andhra Darshan tour ends 1953, part 2. A morning meeting with Baba. 2 days of our stay at Iluru were over. However, the banquet of the Avatar's presence was to continue in the city for 3 days more. On January 26th, we woke up early. Most of us had a hot water bath. We were asked to be in Baba's cottage a little after sunrise. After a delicious South Indian breakfast, everyone hurried over. As there were over 50 of us, it was difficult to accommodate ourselves in the meeting room. We crammed together while the spaceless one, Meher Baba, with a pleasant smile silently sat in the corner waiting all to come in.
Okay. I'll pause you and draw attention to a very nice title. Something to think about more. What is space? Space is where matter fills up, right? Space is something where matter fills up. And this is something worthy of thinking a little more. What is spaceless? It's so beautiful. I like it. Please continue.
Yes, it is beautiful. It
Yeah.
it gives it gives the feeling of the beyond.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thought.
Before any special meeting, Baba would inquire if all who were expected had come or not. He began, "For me, last night was one of the worst nights. In fact, I haven't slept well for the past 3 nights. But I do not want you to feel concerned about it. Your concern should be to observe whatever instructions I have given you." Baba was always very particular, even about the casual instructions that he might have given. They were not only commands of the God man, they were also the power lines for his work. It has been noticed that obedience to Baba's orders, whether big or small, has helped him in his inner work, whereas the slightest disobedience caused him suffering and impedance in the power lines. Baba continued, "Now I am going to tell you something important. Listen carefully, but don't ask me any questions. The Leela of my crucifixion and humiliation in Andhra has not yet come to pass, even 1%. But in April, it will come with a vengeance. Today, in the early hours of the morning, I felt that by the end of April, there is a 99.5% chance that I will drop my body. If the remaining 0.5% possibility of retaining in my body comes off, then it will not be dropped for many years to come. If possible, I want every one of you to abstain completely from any lustful action until the end of April 1953. With a look of assurance, he then gestured, "Try, I will help you." Karthik, I have a question. Now, the avatar of the age, he would know when he has to drop his body. So, why is this estimation or speculation?
That's something for yeah. I mean, we never know. We can never understand these things. One, my personal opinion is that's the counter veiling force of Maya, and hence that there is a sense of there is a uh, sort of unpredictability to things because he is the perfect one with access to all all the future and the present, and time doesn't matter. But my reading is it is the action of Maya. The second is often think that his predictions and his failed predictions, many of which we are aware of, especially to do with his manifestation, breaking of the silence, and all of that, were also part of his work. So it was a way of filtering. When I say filtering, I'm referring to getting the grain from the chaff of good Baba lovers, of people who are genuinely in love with him and his message rather than the hangers on. So these were many of these were tests, right? So even in this example, he's using that as an opportunity to inculcate good behavior, right? Like by asking from avoidance of lustful action and so on.
Yeah.
But I mean, the speculative question that you asked, I have many more speculative questions, right? If you go to infinite intelligence, there's so does the perfect one need to have perfect English? Does the perfect one need to know all languages? Does the perfect one need? I don't know, but does it matter? Right. So that's my quick and naughty response.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because after all, he knows what he is doing. Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
He continued, "Tomorrow."
No, I would
Mama
like to
wanted to say something.
add
Yeah.
a point here. Say, if you take the history of all the avatars, so they came in the body. Body does not have uh, say everlasting capability. It is made out of Maya or made out of
Belongs to
So
the
that
nothing.
cosmos itself. So avatar either decides or is bound by these forces of Maya also, and the existence as such. So there comes an end for this particular living entity as a body. So that is also referred to here. And it is the unpredictable nature of that is also projected here by telling that he may end this soon or may last for some more time and all that. So that's how I look at it. So it is beyond the, I can't say beyond, but it is the role of the uh, illusion that it has to end somewhere. So that's why uh, we can imagine that an avatar can live all through and do all his work and complete it. Why he comes back every time? Because
Exactly.
of all
That's a
these
good point.
forces.
That's the biggest logic.
So that's why I look at this also.
That's a beautiful logic. So you have actually given a logic, right? The fact that the avatars come again and again means that there is something that they are not able to complete once and for all, which proves that there is a countervailing force or there is a other force. And to just extend what Mamaji said, when he comes down and becomes part of the elements and is in illusion, he's part of the nothing. So he's bound by that, right? But of the big nothing. So he's part of the big nothing in the limited sense of being in body. He's not nothing. He's everything. He's reality. But he is limited by the rules that apply there, right? So, but he has not explained this. I don't think Baba has explained this in great detail anywhere. And in fact, he has only made enigmatic pronouncements. So he has said things like, when I speak in my language and in your language. In my language, when I say in your language, you you may understand it in a different way. And so there is a lot of enigmatic statements he has made to further uh, complicate the matter. Okay, but I agree with everything that Mamaji said.
Jay Baba, I have another perspective, uh, and that is that the avatar comes to redeem humanity from suffering and sins. That is what has been happened in the earlier avatars also. I mean, that's the common thread. He comes to reduce the suffering of humanity. So
Yeah.
to that extent, he takes some of the suffering, or he tries to cleanse. That is what comes to my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Jai
So the
Baba,
repetitive advents of the avatar are because there are newer souls. Fair enough. To respond to Mamaji's point, Kama, go ahead.
Jai Baba, my understanding is based on what Mamaji and now Ashok is saying. See, first of all, in the big picture, top down approach, we know it's part of the divine dream, right? That starting from the whim, and the whim creates those three substates, right? 2A, 2B, 2C. 2A and 2B are the ones which is part of the, 2B is infinite consciousness where God realizes himself that he's Paramatma. And then 2A is the infinite unconsciousness, which is the opposite. And if you remember the supplement in God Speaks, both states, state 1 and state 2, the most original state of God, state 1, which is the beyond state of God, which is God is, but consciousness is not. Whereas state 2, which is the final state, where God, the unconscious aspect of God becomes conscious. That is, it consciously knows now that it is God. But then the whole scenario, which we know from real everything, real nothing, all of this consciousness, whim, and all that is part of the real nothing. I mean, it has nothing to do with it. Second thing is, every time the avatar comes, he comes with a pre-scripted plan, with those inner circle, with Vijnani Sanskaras, which we all know. Vijnani Sanskaras then become Yoga Sanskaras when he is unveiled. Okay. Now, the other thing about why doesn't he finish his job is because second thing is there are certain laws, the laws of matter and the laws of the spirit, and he can't interface with it. Even though the
Yeah.
master designs the game is not people, the people who are playing the game are not following the rules of the game. Okay. So the avatar is not going to interfere when the game is being played, but he only comes intermediately, like the 700 to 1400 years, which also corresponds to the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, that every orderly system tends towards disorder. And the other thing also, we know that when the avatar is alive in human form, only a few people are aware of it. Number one, that is again his grace. Then now, Baba in our midst is in Nirguna Nirakar. He is equally available to all. Today we have all the literature and everything. Both Baba lovers and non Baba lovers are still struggling with their sanskaras, even though they know exactly what needs to be done. So, Avatar will not interfere in the play because that's otherwise there is no point in having going through this creation. So, in that sense, the big picture is that it's very clear there are billions of universes. There are billions of times that the avatar has come and gone in different existence. Right now we are going through this period. So, just to clarify what Mamaji said, that the main point here is that yes, Baba said I can give self-realization with a click of my, fingers, just like that. But one is we are not eligible, and second is he's not going to interfere, unless there is a real, there is something very important that he sees that in the cycle of existence he needs to change something, which I think is because this is also called the cycle of cycles in a way. And we are seeing a shift in consciousness. We have seen the industrial revolution. We have seen the AI driven economy and all that. So that's just my take on it. Jai Baba.
Yeah, yeah. So all valid points, and I think let's get back to the reading. Without, uh, I mean, uh, I think we have discussed quite a bit on this. Let's continue. Ashokji,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? Sorry.
yes.
If possible, I want every one of you. Oh, sorry, this is a repetition. I want of you to abstain completely from any lustful action until the end of April 1953. With a lot of assurance, he then gestured, "Try, I will help you." He continued, "Tomorrow, January 27th, night, all of you should stay awake. Don't sleep. You may sing bhajans, repeat the divine names of God, talk on spiritual subjects, or keep quiet, but don't gossip. However, in the later part of the day, Baba permitted us to share among ourselves humorous stories and good jokes. He continued, "Those who sleep will be the losers. On the morning of January 28th, when I will offer the prayer of repentance, you should all take part in it. At its conclusion, I will bow down to all the participants." Uh, Allow me to share an interesting observation which you all know, but the prayer of repentance was given before the universal prayer.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
No, it was given in 1952, and the prayer of the universal prayer was given later. I think
Okay.
it's 1953. So I mean, there is uh, I think must be a significance or a priority to the prayer of repentance. What
Right.
comes to my mind? It's just academic, but anyway.
Sure.
Uh, when Baba concluded his say, Dr. Deshmukh asked whether Baba would like to see the film that had been taken during Baba's recent visit to Amravati in December 1952. Baba did not seem to be in a mood for it, and he gestured. I honestly tell you that Deshmukh is one of my dearest ones, but sometimes when he gets a fixed idea, he exasperates me with it. Then Deshmukh Baba gave a signal of approval, but he also made it clear through his loving gestures that during the present darshan tour, Deshmukh was not even to utter the words film or projector in Baba's presence.
I don't know how. I'm just imagining how Baba achieved such a strong implication with loving gestures. But it must be fun. Just visualize it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Family interviews, house visits, darshan. After his lunch, Baba spent some time meeting with different families from Andhra. During the interviews, he expressed concern over certain matters and at times he teased or joked with some people. In short, he made everyone feel his presence on each one's level. In general, he asked them to love him more and more by remembering him wholeheartedly. He also assured them of his help if they longed for it. To one of his dear ones, he conveyed, obedience to my orders has its own importance. Even God is jealous of who implicitly. Karthik, this is worth underlining or highlighting. Obedience of orders has its own importance. Implicitly obey Baba with love and without expecting anything in return. One of his lovers, Dr. C. Kondola Rao, who later wrote an account of his meeting with Baba, stated, I did not take spiritual life or God seriously. I was a happy go lucky person. I was not very keen to see Meher Baba, but this meeting came as a matter of course. When I was ushered into Baba's presence, he looked at me and gestured, what do you want? I felt bewildered, for I did not expect such a question. But before I could think, Baba's compassionate look made me forget my age and my position as the head of the family. With tears of repentance trickling from my eyes, I cried out loudly, redeem me, Baba. Baba, pray, redeem me. This was a spontaneous cry from my heart, and Baba's soft touch transported me into a region of inner bliss. From that moment, I have felt that the process of redemption is continuously at work, and this has helped me to keep beloved Baba as my sole companion in life. Baba had started visiting the houses of local Baba lovers on the 25th of January. On January 26th, he visited K. Subramaniam Sastri's house, where the meetings of the Mayor's Center of Aluru were regularly held. Baba lovingly sat on a chair which previously had only held his framed picture. He pointed to one of the portraits which was displayed on the wall, and asked who had painted it. On being told that Y. Rangarao was the artist and he had finished it on the eve of Raj and Pinto's visit to Eluru in June 1952, Baba got up and stood before the portrait. This immediate response from Baba seemed to link the two disciples' visit to the Master's august presence. Baba gestured for his arti to be sung, and the atmosphere became charged with a warm feeling of pure love. Y. Ranga Rao was one of the chief organizers of Meher Baba's programs in Andhra. Baba wished to visit his house. Ranga Rao, however, instead proposed that Baba visit the house of another Baba lover and that he would gladly forego his chance. This did not please Baba. He brought out to those who were standing around him the salient difference between his visiting anyone's house at the request of someone and he wanting to visit a certain person or residence on his own. At the end, he made a gesture that there was a world of difference between these two types of visits. Rangarao realized his blunder. With tearful eyes, he prostrated before the avatar, begging his pardon. Baba gestured, forgiven, and we proceed to Rangarao's house. The God's man offer should never be declined. It is it is a paramount spiritual need of that moment expressed through the universal mind. Karthik, I think even this is worth underlining. The God man's
Sure.
offer should never be declined. It is a paramount spiritual need of that moment expressed through the universal mind.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
between the stories, there's a lot of pearls of wisdom.
Nuggets. Yes.
Nuggets, yeah, okay.
So we can actually rotate the reading. So, Mamaji, if you're ready, you can take over now. Thank you so much, Ashokji, and for reading till now.
Thank, thank you, Karthik. I hope my voice was clear, but I just
Yes, yes.
Continuing, during this short visit, Baba told Ranga Rao's wife that her husband would remain in his service and while shouldering the family duties and responsibilities, he would also be serving Baba. This special visit helped Ranga Rao to be one pointed in his love for Baba until he breathed his last. In the morning, on his way to the darshan program at Mandapalle, Baba visited TVS Prasad's house. During the darshan hour, Prasad watched Baba constantly moving his finger. He became curious about the swift movements of the fingers and later learned from Ramju, who was sitting on the parapet of a nearby house, that it was a visible avataric expression of Baba's inner universal birth. Oh, oh.
Yeah, that has been said multiple times. So if you notice in all the videos, his fingers are constantly working, and many masters do that as well, in a random way and not in a particular pattern. But that's, yeah, expression of Baba's, inner universal birth.
The program of house visit was planned by the members of the reception committee. However, in his own way, Baba sometimes altered or added a few visits, which in some cases revealed his omniscience and compassion. For example, our Rajeshwari was seriously ill with cancer. He could not go to Baba's darshan either in the garden or the college grounds. One morning she wept bitterly over her misfortune of not being able to see the avatar visit her city. Although her residence was not on the day's list, to her amazement, Baba visited her house and fulfilled her earnest longing to see him. Her relatives later remarked that it was only owing to Baba's blessings that she had a fresh lease on life for 3 more years, a gracious chance offered by the God man to live in his loving remembrance. In Eluru, there was a boy of 10 years who had become greatly drawn to Baba just from looking at his picture on posters. He deeply craved to see Baba on his arrival. However, by the time Baba reached Eluru, he was in bed with a high fever. His parents were not interested in Meher Baba and they knew nothing about their son's longing. Once Baba, during his round of visits, on his own gestured to stop the car. He got down and went straight to the boy, who was still in bed. He blessed him and the next moment left the house. The boy was in rapture and his parents before they knew the whole story found that their son had a picture of Baba under his pillow. Baba's love for the sick and the poor was often manifested through such incredible occurrences. The avatar in his all comprehensive presence knows the hearts that are athirst for him and his own unfathomable ways. In his own unfathomable ways, he responds to these calls of longing. On January 26th, Baba visited houses where the members of the reception committee resided. At the end of the day's house visit, he was driven to the city where a massive darshan program was arranged. The crowds that had gathered were so large that the local police were busy controlling the people. Baba was led to the stage from the rear and went to his seat as a roaring ovation from the crowd burst out at his sight. Baba paid his homage to the people by bowing down to them. Then one of the mandali read out a printed message from Baba. The eager crowd then formed the seemingly endless lines of men and women that swiftly filed past Baba for his darshan. This kept him busy for over 2 hours. Small and big bunches of bananas which people offered to Baba formed a heap which grew into a big mound as time passed by. At about 6:30 p.m., a cordon was formed with the help of the police, and Baba got back into his car. On his return to the garden premises, through his natural and graceful gesture, Baba very casually conveyed the following: the time has come when the ocean of love has to flood the rivers which have gone spiritually dry. When you see me giving darshan and prasad to thousands of people, it is neither mechanical or meaningless. These are the means by which my love flows to humanity. And uh, with these gestures, beloved Baba, the ocean of love, left for his room. I think you can underline the sentence there.
Previous line, yeah.
Yeah. So the meaning of prasad from Baba has a lot of things.
Significance, yeah.
Uh, Agreed. And Karthik, there's also a mistake in the printing. I think at thirst or at
At
hearst.
thirst, yeah. At thirst, yeah. This word was at thirst. It's okay. Yeah, here.
Yes, I think there's a error here. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good catch.
thought it was a new word for me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So again, a gentle nudge. I've been sharing the ebook that we read, the copy of the, I mean, I'm sharing the link of that along with our reminder text message uh, so that it can be useful for those who want the copy later.
Yes.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, please continue.
I am God in human form. The part of the good passage itself. Okay. On January 27th, we were with Baba in the morning when he reminisced. Baba Jan often used to say, "A million holes are being drilled in my heart." What an incredible agony that must be. And last night I had the same feeling. It seems that I will literally be consumed by my very free life. In April, there is a great possibility of my dropping the body. During this month, whenever I go, all the resident mandali, whenever, during
Wherever I
many
go.
months, wherever I go, all the resident mandali will be with me. In March, I will reside either at Dehradun or Hyderabad. When I break my silence, the ocean of love will flood the rivers which have become dry. This is a repetition of same sentence.
Yeah.
When we came out of the room, there were already some groups of people standing under the awning waiting for Baba's darshan. Baba came out and blessed the people. However, a little later, he went back to the same room adjacent to the veranda. Prior to his leaving, he instructed the chairman of the reception committee to summon the lovers and workers of the Iloro Meher Center to his room. Only these people, about 20 were above, brought into Baba's presence, and he asked the chairman to close the door. Baba had only Rich standing by his side. One of the participants of the meeting later narrated the details of this eventful gathering. A group saw Baba in a divine, resplendent mood. Baba stated, "I say with me divine authority that I am God." This revelation from the avatar filled the hearts of those in the room with ecstasy and awe. A little later, after some casual conversation, Baba, his face aglow with a divine radiance, repeated the same statement and added, "I am God in human form. I alone am real or capital. All else is illusion. Love me from the depths of your heart." You can add this line also. I say with divine authority that I am God. So
Yeah.
in continuity, it will be better. No wonder that those who were in the room felt themselves immensely blessed by the intimacy of the love released by the God man. Each one felt that everything in the room was vibrant with the avatar's divinity. With tears of joy sparkling in their eyes, all came out of the room. After this short and memorable meeting, Baba left for D. Budem in compliance with the request of those who long for his darshan there. During our stay at Eluru, we visited some Baba lovers for lunch, of course with Baba's sanction. One day, someone came to Baba and entreated him to come with his people for food at his house. Baba did not express his willingness to go. The person persisted with his request, and so Baba proposed, if I alone visit your residence, it will be tantamount to all the Mandi also taking food, and so they need not and will not come. Now I give you a choice between my coming and my people coming for lunch. The person looked for bewildered. On the spur of the moment, he came under the veil of quantity and opted for Baba's people, for, for he was rich and had already made preparations to feed a large gathering. Baba, with a smile, gestured, granted. Later, the person may have realized that he had missed an extremely rare chance that comes only after lifetimes. He chose the many rather than the one who represents all. Baba the ocean becomes Baba the ocean becomes drop. I think last line is also catchy. He chose the
Yeah,
many rather than the one who represents all. Baba, the ocean become drop. On January 27th, after we returned from lunch, we were again in Baba's company. On his compassion, Baba was giving us more and more opportunity of being in his sahawat. He also granted personal interviews to his lovers from North India who had joined Baba on this tour. These lovers were to leave Eluru before Baba's departure. Some of them felt very sad with the thought of leaving Baba. To them, he comforted us. If you have love for me, distance or being away from my physical presence doesn't matter. I am in you, and the universal mind can give anything to anyone at any time. Just follow these instructions. Love me, don't deceive, don't commit misdeeds. I'll be with you. So we are in company of the universal mind all the time if we are in love with Baba.
yes.
Also reminded all to stay awake that night and gesture. Beware, don't sleep. This graceful gesture at times reminds me of the words of Jesus. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. Jesus' words.
Wow. Watch therefore, for ye know not what are your Lord doth come. So you have to watch all the time.
Somebody can take over. Thank
Yes,
you.
sure. Thank you so much for your reading, Mamaji. Anybody, Judge, you're welcome to read as well. Okay. If there is nobody else ready at this time, I will read. Not a problem. Letter of Confession to Baba. An interesting incident with its background concerning a confessional letter from Pukar is worth narrating here. During Baba's first visit to Hamirpur in November 1952, Pukar was observing Baba's daily activities very closely. By the time the tour ended, he was deeply touched by Baba's loving response to the unpretentious devotion of the simple hearted villagers. Pukar, in spite of his political and critical outlook, could not find a single thing about Baba that deserved an adverse comment. To him, Baba's life appeared to be a divine dispensation of his unconditional love for humanity. So, in all honesty, Pukar wanted to reaffirm his intention of dedicating his life in Baba's cause. As a sequel to this, he decided to write a letter of confession to Baba and wanted to give it personally to him during Baba's ensuing visit to Andhra. On January 17th, Baba arrived at Vijayawada from Madras and had a short rest in a waiting room at the railway station. It was here that Baba saw his lovers who had arrived from North India to join him on his first Andhra Darshan tour. When Pukar met Baba, he made a quick reference to the contents of his personal letter and tried to give it to him. Baba lovingly looked at him and gestured, "What's the hurry? Can't you see how busy I am now? Keep the letter with you and read it to me when I am at leisure." A few other Baba lovers had also written letters to Baba concerning their personal problems. Baba asked them to hand over their sealed envelopes to Pukar, and he instructed Pukar to remind him about them during his spare time. From January 18th to 27th, the Andhra Darshan programs were colossal, and in between these were house visits and short meetings between Baba and his lovers. This kept Baba extremely busy. Pukar was very watchful for the right time to read out his letter to Baba. At last, one day, when Baba was having his lunch, Pukar, with all the letters in his hand, stepped into Baba's room. Baba at once knew Pukar's intention and gestured. "Is this the time to listen to correspondence? Don't you want me to have some quiet, at least when I am taking my meal of rice and dal?" Pukar felt ashamed and he went away. Later, on January 27th, Pukar and the other Baba lovers from Hamirpur had an opportunity for a personal interview with Baba. At that time, Pukar mentioned that in spite of Baba's instruction, he was unable to find the right moment to read the letters out to Baba. He added that he was leaving for Hamirpur the next day. Hearing this, Baba looked amused and gestured. "Tell me, what do you take me to be?" Pukar's immediate reply was, "God." Baba then added, "God knows everything, everything," he continued. "And if your Baba is what he says he is and what you take him to be, then no letter of confession or the reading of letters filled with personal problems is necessary. And if your Baba is the one who needs letters to be read aloud to him for the forgiving or for giving help in solving problems, then he is not worthy of being Baba, God." With his matchless smile, Baba then concluded, "In any case, reading the letters that are with you is not necessary. It is better that you throw them in a river when you go back to Hamirpur." Wow. Amazing.
Karthik, you can underline God knows everything, everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it just says that you don't have to communicate anything to him. He knows everything.
Yes. Pukar, I continue reading. Pukar looked at Baba's eyes, the pools of compassion that convinced him of Baba's status as the Redeemer. In a hoarse voice, full of feeling, Pukar replied, "Baba, you are perfectly right. I should have realized this long before." After reverentially bowing down to Baba, Pukar left the room. On reaching Hamirpur, one of the first things he did was to throw all these letters in the current of the river Betwa. If you noticed in Baba's message, he also says letter of confession. So he knew it was a confessional letter. I don't know if that was mentioned by Pukar orally, but again, I mean, he knows everything, right? So what does it matter? I continue. Prayers to Meher Baba, the God man, are heard and responded to by him as soon as they are sincerely offered. Rumi has expressed this relationship in a very profound way. With your every cry of Allah, the immediate response is, "Here am I." Has not Meher Baba clearly stated, I am the divine beloved who loves you more than you can ever love yourself? For most of us, the first tender or fiery awakening,
Going back to that a statement by Baba, the thing is, Baba says that it is a confession letter, but he didn't
yeah,
know. Nobody told him about it.
that's what I'm
So
saying. That's
this
what I'm
is the
saying.
way
So,
Baba makes people understand those doubting some.
exactly, exactly.
He knows
That's what I,
everything.
that's what I also wanted to point out. Yeah, yeah. Continuing, for most of us, the first tender or fiery awakening of the God man's love and omniscience generally results in a longing to disclose to him our weaknesses and moments of temptations. One may feel that such an opening to him will cleanse one's heart of its blemishes. At least I feel that way. My own experience of this began in March 1943 when I first read about Meher Baba. However, it wasn't until November 1944 that I had the blessed privilege to have his darshan. During this period of a year and a half, I used to write short letters to beloved Baba, and each time I received a reply through Adi with a line or two dictated by Baba. In one of the letters Adi wrote to me, he, Baba, knows your feelings very well. He says that he is with you all the time. These words gave me an overwhelming feeling of his closeness. As a response to Baba's unconditional love, I wrote him a detailed letter disclosing the dark side of my life. I also requested him to forgive me for my feelings and to help me to become worthy of his love. Each of my earlier letters had a response of some sort from Baba, but this particular letter remained totally unanswered. Nothing was mentioned about the contents of this letter in any of my visits to Baba. Years later, Baba's words of wisdom to Pukar provided me with the perfect answer. It is quite natural to feel prompted to write a detailed letter of confession to Baba. However, I now know that the best thing to do after writing such a letter is to tear it into pieces in the deep faith that Baba, the Ancient One, in his infinite ocean of omniscience, knows and forgives all. Thus, Baba's direct reply to one's honest confession is his redeeming help to stay away from those actions and thoughts we have confessed to, as well as his help in one's attempt to lead a simple, clean life worthy of his love. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful
Jai Baba.
message
Jai
from
Baba, I think
Bal Natu.
we are reading about 1953, right? When Baba was in Andhra
Correct.
and Pukar joined
Yes,
that program.
correct.
I'm currently reading Pukar's diaries, and there in on 28th of June 1957, because it is a dated diary, he writes, "Today I became emotional because he was not permitted to write letters and his confession, so which Baba ultimately made him to throw them into Betwa. But here
Hmm.
he writes, Today I became emotional and could not stop myself from crying. When Baba asked me the reason for my crying, I confessed to Baba that I was not able to obey him completely. Baba comforted me by saying, absolute self sacrifice, 100% obedience is extremely difficult. But if you continue in the way you are doing now, it will be sufficient. Gradually, your purpose will be served and you will excel in obedience. Yeah, Baba.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. So that's a beautiful book. Okay, let's continue. Love God honestly. Baba, after his interviews with those from Hamirpur, was ready for house visits. Y. Rangarao read out the names of the Baba lovers who expected him to visit their houses. Baba, as he stood up to go, jokingly gestured to Rangarao In the beginning, I was told that at the most there would be about 19 house visits in Iluru, but now it seems that the number will soon reach 90. Some of those who were around Baba could not suppress their laughter. Within a few minutes, Baba's car and the buses reserved for his people sped out of the garden premises. Our first stop happened to be a government building where the district judge resided. He welcomed Baba warmly, and when we were all seated, Baba was pleased to dictate the following message from his board. I have lately been laying stress on honesty. If we love God honestly, we become one with Him. Never before has dishonesty and hypocrisy prevailed in this world as today. If the least hypocrisy creeps into our thoughts, words, and deeds, God, who is the innermost self in us all, keeps himself hidden. I repeat, if the least hypocrisy creeps into our thoughts, words, and deeds, God, who is the innermost self in us all, keeps himself hidden. Hypocrisy is a million headed cobra. There are today so many so called saints who, even though they tell people to be honest and not to be hypocrites, are yet themselves deep in dishonesty. I say
Jai
with
Baba,
divine Yakama.
there is, look at that last line. God, who is the innermost self,
Yeah,
the one on that line. So, God, who is the innermost self in us all, keeps himself hidden. This is the secret, the not a secret, but I think people are ignorant about, because God is not an object of love. God is the subject, and He's yourself.
yeah,
And this is where the boils come from, Baba or
yeah,
innermost living self. I call it, I made a new expression, GPO is General Post Office, right? So
yeah.
GBO is God, is Baba, who is O is for oils, our innermost loving self. So that's it. Jai Baba.
Yeah. I'll repeat the line after that. Hypocrisy is a million headed cobra. There are today so many so called saints who, even though they tell people to be honest and not to be hypocrites, are themselves deep in dishonesty. I say with divine authority that I am in you all. And if you honestly love God, you will find him everywhere. And remember, if you cannot love God and cannot lead saintly lives, then at least do not make a show of it, because the worst scoundrels are better than hypocritical saints. And that message came from Life Circular number 9, issued in on the 28th of March 1953. Baba's stress on honesty at the residence of a judge seemed significant. It suggested to me that while judging others, the first and foremost thing for me to do is to find out whether I am honest to myself and to my relationship with beloved Baba, the ocean of honesty. Before proceeding from the district judge's house, Baba casually inquired if the name of the district collector was on the list of house visits. The reply was no. Upon this, Baba remarked, "That's all right. The collector loves me. What matters is loving me and not a house visit." With a little pause, Baba added, "Now I wish to go back to my cottage in the garden, and after a little rest, I will continue with the house visits." Naturally, Baba's car and the buses were driven back. When Baba reached the garden, Baba lovers from Eluru, to their surprise, saw the collector with his family waiting for Baba's darshan. He very lovingly garlanded Baba, and Baba lovingly embraced him. Both looked pleased. Baba frequently changed his plans and went well out of his way to meet his lovers. It wasn't the house visits that were important, but the pull of inner love. I mean, just imagine if you were the object of such an experience in real life when Baba was there. It would be I mean, that's a moment of inner bliss, right? And it's the greatest grace that you can expect when the avatar is in form, right? Anyway, beautiful. I continue. The Mandali thought, yeah, Ashok.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, you know, there is some divine connection from past life, and we don't know where we were, either in the east or west, but these stories and these anecdotes, uh, you know, seem familiar, at least to me. When we are reading this, I feel there's a deep connection of this in my past life. It
You
might be
like spicy
imagined.
food?
I
I'm pulling your leg.
don't know. This is a thought which came to my mind. I'm sharing it. I know it's personal, but I mean, I sort of correlate a lot to these Saturday and Sunday readings.
Sure. I
Yeah.
think Sanjay ji was saying something.
Yeah, yeah. You should look at some Telugu books. You might suddenly start reading Telugu talking
Yeah, okay.
and
Before that,
come
I
from
also
your
wanted to
past
ask.
life updated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. I wanted to, if you're on speaker, it's even better. Did you have a girlfriend in school or college from Andhra, Ashok?
No, no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, just joking. Yeah. Let's continue. The afternoon was spent in these house visits. At most places, Baba sat on the floor and R.K. Gadekar sang Baba's Marathi Aarti composed by Dr. C.D. Deshmukh. While the Aarti was being sung, the host and hostess waved an Aarti tray containing lit camphor. Of course, they stood at a considerable distance from Baba. During all this, Baba, his eyes flashing in different directions, held some fruit in his hands, which he then gave to his devotees residing in the house. At the close of the song of praise, Baba immediately got up, touched the sweets to be distributed to the people, and left. At no place did Baba or his people have any drink or refreshment. On our return to the garden, Baba reminded us to keep awake for the whole night. This was not compulsory for the sick. Neon lights shone throughout the garden, and in various ways we passed the night in beloved Baba's delightful remembrance and wakefulness. Baba's omniscient gestures. While the city of Eluru was wrapped in sleep, all those who had accompanied Baba on his Andhra tour stayed awake during the night of January 27, 28. We spent this time in remembering and glorifying the God man who was residing with us in the garden. On the 28th, in the early hours of the morning, everyone had a bath as per Baba's instruction. At 6 o'clock in the morning, we presented ourselves before Baba. Although he wore a serious expression, he looked a picture of freshness. When all had come, Baba stood up, and the entire assembly also rose. We joined Baba in offering the prayer of repentance. Another reminder that the Parvatigar prayer, was not even ready at this time, like Ashokji pointed out. So that's why Baba probably read the prayer of repentance with everybody. I repeat, we joined Baba in offering the prayer of repentance. Baba gestured that his participation with us in this prayer was on behalf of all his lovers. Perhaps to express his active participation at the inception of this prayer in the November meeting at Mehrabad, Baba chose to begin it with we. Then he bowed down to each one present and later explained that through this particular action, he had paid his obeisance to the living God realized individuals, the 56 perfect ones who are always present on earth. Baba had a word of cheer for his dear ones who were to leave Eluru after lunch. However, when Pukar's maternal uncle Sheetal Prasad Nigam had Baba's embrace, Baba expressed through gestures that Sheetal would soon find things topsy turvy, as if the world had been turned upside down, and that he would find corpses on either side of him. In the end, Baba added, "But be brave, don't fear. Remember me, I will help you." Sheetal thought that Baba was referring to worldwide destruction preceding his manifestation. Why did Baba say this to me at the time of parting? Sheetal wondered. However, it did not take long for him to realize the meaning behind Baba's omniscient gestures. Some weeks after Sheetal's return to Hamirpur, he was traveling on a crowded bus. Suddenly, it swerved off the road, dashed against a culvert, and overturned. Sheetal was badly injured. He tried to crawl out from the wreckage, but was trapped with corpses on either side of him. In his helpless state, he vividly remembered Baba's gestures and wholeheartedly called on him for help. After some time, a rescue team arrived. They broke through the windshield and helped Sheetal out of the bus. Thus, Baba's gestures had come true in a most inconceivable manner. No doubt, the life of each of us is an open book for Baba. To resume the narration of the day by 7 o'clock, Baba leaves. To resume the narration of the day by 7 o'clock, Baba lovers from Andhra began to gather outside Baba's cottage. On the day of Baba's arrival, during a short walk through the garden, he unexpectedly sat down for a few minutes under a tree. Baba, in spite of his divine splendor, was in a very serious mood. Obviously, no one dared to disturb him, and we stood quietly around. It was apparent that Baba was then deeply occupied with some special spiritual work. The owner of the garden, Katta Subbarao, was greatly impressed with this significant event. A little later, he entreated Baba to allow him to build a small room at that spot. On the last day of our stay at Eluru, January 28th, Baba agreed to K. Subbarao's wish and deposited some real pearls bought by him in the pit of the foundation for a Baba room. By the way, that's a tradition in Agama Shastra, in the Shastras around consecration and construction of divine buildings, temple structures, that you put precious stones at the base of where the the actual deity's form is installed. So you dig. What's that, Mamaji?
Sanctum sanctorium.
Yes,
Below
sanctum
the
sanctorum. Yes, below the sanctum sanctorum, you put precious stones and you consecrate finally by putting the idol on top of it. So that's I think South Indian and North Indian tradition. That's what Baba respected. Let's say. Continuing. On his return to the cottage, Baba had a final meeting with his lovers and workers in Andhra. He gave each one an opportunity to freely express his thoughts and feelings about the work that was being carried on in Andhra Pradesh. After patiently listening to the tributes paid and the complaints made about different people, Baba said that in his love, everyone should try his best to work harmoniously with others. Then, Baba wanted to know if any one of those present, of course with the cooperation of others, was ready to shoulder the responsibility of making the arrangements for Baba's second visit to Andhra, planned for 1954. After discussing the different proposals put forth by his lovers, he finally appointed the following four: Kutumba Shastri, Dhanapati Rao, Ranga Rao, and Mallikarjuna Rao. These four were to schedule and organize the programs for Baba's next visit. For the sake of convenience, they were collectively referred to as KDRM: Kutumba, Dhanapati, Ranga, and Mallikarjuna. Although KDRM later ceased to function as a committee the contribution of each one in Baba's work was unique. So there's a little bit of uh, commonness, love for acronyms, huh? Matchless efficacy of the avatar's name. Vishnu, one of Baba's Mandali, with the cooperation of the railway authorities, arranged to get a carriage on the Voltaire Pune passenger train exclusively for Baba's people. This train used to leave Eluru each evening and Baba was to travel on it. On the morning of the 28th, Manik, Y. Manikyala Rao, sent beloved Baba the following telegram. Pray permission to arrange tea at Vijayawada. Although the passenger train wasn't expected to reach Vijayawada until 8:30 that night, Baba was pleased to grant this request. He also sent Manik the following instructions. Number one, no one should approach Baba in his compartment. Number two, no one should ask him any questions. Number three, Baba will give darshan sitting near the window inside his compartment. Baba's approval made Manik very happy. He and the other Baba lovers who were working in the railways wanted to make sure that Baba and his people wouldn't be disturbed by the other passengers on the train at each station. However, in trying to arrange this, they only succeeded in tipping off all the stations between Eluru and Vijayawada that Baba would be traveling by the WP passenger. So, as soon as the train carrying the avatar stopped at a station, there were seven, we found people greeting Baba with folded hands and loud cheers. In fact, Baba was very tired from the 10-day darshan tour, yet he responded to the crowd with a radiant smile. However, as the train left each station, he looked more exhausted. As Vijayawada is a large and important railway junction, all trains stopped there for a long time. When Baba's train pulled in, the platform was swarming with people. Manik had not expected such a multitude. In response to a request, the window by Baba's seat was opened and people with folded hands began to pass by in quick succession. After a while, some began to ask Baba for his special remedial blessing. Someone would lift a sick person to the window to receive Baba's blessed touch, and another person would say, Baba, this man is suffering from asthma, please bless him. Or someone would raise a child to Baba and plead, this little one is a victim of polio. May you bless him and heal him. Any questions at all, much less requests, were counter to Baba's instructions to Manik. So he looked at Erich and gestured. Why are they asking me to cure their ailments? I am neither a doctor, a healer, or a miracle monger. Manik, a slim young man, was standing close by, watching and listening to what Baba conveyed. A little later, Baba instructed Erich to bring home to Manik what he should tell the people about him. Erich took Manik to the end of the platform and lightly admonished him for telling others, the sick, that Baba would cure them. Such an intimation would give them a distorted picture of Baba's divinity and unconditional love. Besides, this had cost Baba a lot of inconvenience. Manik replied that he had not told people anything that would belittle Baba's status as the avatar. In fact, he had no idea what brought people to the station in such large numbers. Being
Jay
convinced
Baba,
that Manik,
Karthik,
yeah,
um,
sure.
I think that anecdotes or that Baba's prescription that yeah, we have to suffer our sanskaras. Is that what it implies? The
Yes,
paragraph before. So Baba cannot intervene in that, and he is trying to help us reduce our sanskaric uh, karmic load. So I think he doesn't want to interfere in that.
absolutely. So Baba always steers clear of being associated with miracles. He takes a lot of pains to distance himself from miracles, right? So this is one other example of the same. And second, he's actually also, in fact, he says that miracles are low level uh, uh, achievements or competencies that are very low level. So why are you equating me to a miracle monger, he says, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, it's Baba's continued abhorrence of miracles, and the fact that, yes, like you said, he cannot uh, mess with the, I mean, he will not interfere ever with the operation of the divine laws. But of course, for a few, he does give grace. For a few, for everyone, he gives the strength to face our sanskaric load and push us along our way. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's continue. So Erich just finished the dressing down of Manik. Now let's see what happens. Both of them returned to Baba's compartment. The line of people formed for Baba's darshan stretched on. Manik found that when someone requested Baba to bless him for a healing or a cure, he sometimes expressed his displeasure to the Mandali. However, Baba invariably gave a look of compassion or a loving smile to each sick person. To some, he conveyed through gestures, I am the doctor of doctors. Take my name 108 times a day. Don't be upset. I will help you. It appears to me that through this incident, Baba has indirectly indicated that the most natural and effective remedy for all ailments is the wholehearted remembrance of his holy name. The efficacy of the avatar's name is matchless. Manik was amazed to hear Baba's authoritative instructions to the sick. A little later, Baba called him close and, without any reference to the talk he had with Erich, enfolded him in his loving embrace. With this, the tears Manik had been holding back burst the floodgates. He had already been served to the Mandali, and they all appreciated it. While all this was going on, Gustadji, a silent companion of the Silent One, who usually would be the last person to complain about anything, conveyed to Baba through gestures that the toilet in the Mandali's carriage was stinking. The railway officers ordered the staff to take care of this. This delayed the train, but coincidentally, it allowed more people to have Baba's darshan. When the train was about to leave, Baba asked for some carbonated soda water. Manik looked a little worried, not knowing where to get it. But just then, he happened to spot a vendor coming through the crowd with a crate of soft drinks. Manik gave the required bottle to Erich for Baba, and the train began to pull out of the station. In spite of all the love Manik had for Baba and all the arrangements he had made at the station, a silly thought crept into his head. If that bottle goes with the Mandali, I will have to pay extra money for it. So soda bottles are returned for, are priced only for the drink, right? So he began to walk briskly, keeping pace with the train, holding on to Baba's window with the intention of getting the bottle back. How elusive and funny the mind is. Just then, on Baba's instruction, Erich thrust a nice garland in Manik's hand as a gift and also a ripe papaya as prasad from Baba. This was indeed a precious reward from Baba, worth countless soda bottles. When the avatar on his own accepts any insignificant thing or service from someone, he bestows in return many fold favors and, above all, his precious love. Fantastic. Next section. Is Meher Baba imprisoned? The railway journey continued all day on January 29th as well. At Wadi, we transferred to the Madras Express bound for Bombay. Baba traveled in it as far as Daun and then came by car to Mehrazad. During the train journey, the Mandali casually talked with Baba about the recent darshan programs. They appreciated the love of Baba workers in Andhra and admired their faith in him as the God man. At the close of this conversation, Baba gave the following discourse: You do not know me. You have not seen me. I am not this body which you see, physical. Physical existence is not God. God is in everything, everywhere, all the time. Your body is not you. Even if a leg or an arm is cut off, you will still feel within you that you are one whole. As a child, as a boy, as you are now, and as you will be, you have been changing and will go on changing. Yet you continue to feel your same self, neither more nor less. Your very existence continues unchanged. In spite of the oft repeated gaps during sleep, you do not feel any break in the continuity of this existence. A very profound paragraph. I'm going to reread it. As a child, as a boy, as you are now, and as you will be, you have been changing and you will go on changing. Yet you continue to feel your same self, neither more nor less. Your very existence continues unchanged. In spite of the oft repeated gaps during sleep, you do not feel any break in the continuity of this existence. Why is it? I am God and you are not. It is because I am conscious that I am God and you are not. So, if you see the previous paragraph, this is a very good reminder of the nature of sanskaras, right? So, what is it in our existence that we call as I, right? Everything is changing. And like Baba points out gently here, there are even gaps during sleep where you become God, right? But in spite of all of that, you keep saying you are what you are, your false identity. And that's the role and power of sanskaras, right? Anyway, there is a message footnote. It came from the Awakener, volume number one, number three, page 12, 1954.
Uh, in addition to what you said, so you stress more on sanskara being the awareness.
Mhm.
But beyond that, there is something which is making us aware of something which we don't understand at all. So I have gone through this experience that I so many times think I was a child, I was a boy, I was in Artikere, I was in Bangalore. Still, I am so and so. I am the same. I might have changed over period of time, but still I am the same. So that is not part of sanskara, but it is the awareness, but it is the conscious feeling of existence, as Baba said here. I feel that is also more important here. Jai Baba.
So if your
Hey,
identity
Baba.
was with, yeah, if I may just make a quick comment, Ashok ji. So if
Right.
when you mentioned all the different experiences that you connected with yourself and you connected it to existence, I think the only point why I said sanskaras was you're actually that close to uh, godhood. Every time you go to sound sleep, you're actually in a realized state, but you're not conscious of it, right? Right through, actually, we are in that state even in our waking hours. We are just not conscious of it. And there, I felt that the role of sanskaras. So if you're aware that your existence, you're already home. So you are not Datu Sridharan, right? You are Dattu Sridharan the moment sanskaras are there. So the moment you connect yourself to Arsikare, sanskaras have a role. Moment I connect myself to my childhood, sanskaras are there. The moment I connect myself to yesterday, sanskaras are there. Right? That's what I took away from it. But I agree with what you said as well. Ashok ji, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that this uh, reiterates the point that life changes every 7 years. 7 into 12. That was 84. So basically, you can live beyond 84 also, but they say the 12 stages of life. 7, 0 to 7, you're infant, you're very, you know, innocent. And then 7 to 14, 14 21, like that. Every 7 years, if you think about it, life keeps on changing.
Yes, yes. Different
Yes.
interpretations. Yes. Let's continue.
So we can say it is a parallel journey of sanskaras, also your awareness.
Awareness also, yes. Let's continue. In the early hours of January 30th, the train stopped at my hometown of Kurduwadi. I got down and hurried to Baba's coupe, but the door and window were closed. I waited on the platform with a greedy heart to have a glimpse of him. However, it is his way that when one expects him, he draws a veil. The guard whistled. I folded my hands and the train slowly moved on. I had returned to my town after a week, a memorable and incredible week. The memories of this visit have often vividly come to mind, and I have often leafed through the notes I took and relived the incidents recorded therein as well. The Madras Express carrying Baba reached down at 8 a.m. Meherji and Nariman stayed on the train and proceeded to Bombay. Baba got off and Adi drove him and Eruch in his car. At a crossroads, Adi made a wrong turn, which resulted in a 40-mile detour. Baba often gestured to Adi to drive faster. To make things even more difficult, Adi got a flat tire just when Meherazad was in view. By the time Baba reached his residence, he was utterly exhausted. During Baba's Andhra tour, besides his small and big darshan programs, he granted interviews to some of his devotees. Among these was a married couple who had worldly riches but were very unhappy for they had no child. Both requested Baba to bless them with a son, and heir to the property and a continuance of the family tree. Baba gestured, granted, and then gave them some prasad. A day or two after Baba's arrival at Mehrazad, he was sitting with the mandli and gestured to Erich. You will have to make a return trip to Andhra. This surprised those who were present. Baba continued, Today I remembered that I had granted the wish of a couple to have a child, but now I want Erich to go back and convey the message that my blessings may be fruitful not in the immediate future, but perhaps after some years or maybe in their next life. Baba was so serious over this issue that although Erich was also physically exhausted, he instructed him to send a telegram to his Andhra devotees informing them of Erich's return visit. Baba lovers were very happy to receive Erich at the railway station. Many of them wondered what special message he had brought for them from their beloved Lord and Master Meher Baba. To Erich's surprise, one or two from the crowd asked him in whispers, Is it true that Meher Baba has been arrested? They even pressed him for details about this situation. Although Erich was amazed at this most unexpected question, he maintained his poise and replied, Wait, I will tell you everything. On reaching the house of his host, Erich washed up, refreshed himself, and then completed the work that Baba had entrusted to him. First things first. Baba lovers and workers were informed of Erich's visit, and a small gathering was arranged on the same day. All wanted to hear more about Baba. In the small get together, someone again asked the same question. What about the rumor going around? Is Meher Baba under arrest? Erich replied in a serious tone, Yes, he is. And then, with a grin, added, Yes, Meher Baba is imprisoned in the hearts of his lovers. During Baba's visit to Andhra, he once casually hinted at the forthcoming phase of his humiliation. Perhaps this statement had led some people with ulterior motives to start the rumor that Meher Baba had been imprisoned on his return to Maharashtra, then known as Bombay State. So maybe we stop here and celebrate Baba's birthday next week.
Yes.
So, any passing thoughts before we wrap up?
Every reading gives a new insight and strengthens our closeness with Baba.
Indeed. I hope it is the same for all. I agree with you. Yes, he gives us what we need. He gives, and these stories are so special because they bring out so many aspects of his avatarhood and his personality and his messages. So it's very beautiful.
There's a lot that you, through the messages, actions, you learn that's not really academic, but you just learn through how he used to conduct himself, kind of messages he gave to people. It's hard to document everything in kind of books that we read. So this one is very, very special. This
No
book
doubt
is
about it. Yeah. No, I think Lord Meher is something also we should do at this level of detail and this kind of pace, and we will. But this is very special, no doubt. And he, Bal Natu is his style and his personal stamp with his paragraphs after every, story and message are very, very special. He's a great communicator and he's all heart.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up. I'll stop recording. We can hang out and I can